So Teofimo Lopez has just called out Terence Crawford to a big possible fight in 2024. Terence Crawford has responded, and now we have gotten a little bit of an interesting back and forth between Teofimo Lopez and Terence Crawford. Now here's my thoughts on the beef as well as a possible fight between the two fighters. Now this is a fight that has had not necessarily rumors or even much discussion, but I have heard talks of it happening in the past. Even when Teofimo Lopez was fighting at 135, but now that he's at 140, and he's probably the number 1 or 2 guy at the 140 weight class, I'm seeing the talks coming back now more than ever, specifically due to the fact that Teofimo Lopez has called out Terence Crawford. In this video, I'll be breaking down why that is not a good decision for Teofimo Lopez, because in my opinion, it isn't, but why I also cannot hate on the kid as well. A lot of people are hating on Teofimo Lopez for calling out Terence Crawford. They're talking down on him, they're disrespecting him. And I'm not a huge fan of the culture of boxing where, as a young up-and-coming fighter, and I know he's a 2-weight champion, former unified, etc., so he's not necessarily up-and-coming, but a young, hungry fighter should be receiving any hate for calling out, in many people's minds, the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the entire sport. I have him number 2 at the moment, but you can make a very strong case he's pound-for-pound number 1. You can also make a strong case he won Fighter of the Year this year. I feel that Teofimo receiving hate for calling out Crawford is very unwarranted. Now, do I think he stands much of a chance against Terence Crawford? No, I do not. I don't see him standing much of a chance against Crawford at all. I would very confidently pick Terence Crawford to beat Teofimo Lopez. I'd also pick him to stop Teofimo. However, that doesn't change the fact of the matter that Teofimo Lopez should not be receiving hate for calling out a very high-level elite fighter. Now, their Twitter back and forth was relatively interesting in my opinion. Teofimo Lopez called out Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford is not very happy about it. He exclaimed how Teofimo Lopez in person will never bring him up, will never bring a fight up between the two. He'll never confront making a fight happen. But behind Twitter and on social media, he'll be much more confident and much more bold calling him out. And I don't see much of an issue with Crawford stating that. You're calling Crawford out very confidently. You're making some pretty bold claims in a possible fight against Terence Crawford. You've seen him in person many times, especially when you both were of Top Rank. But in general, I assume you guys have seen each other in person many times at these events. You don't have that energy in person that you do online. That's not the best look for Teofimo Lopez. Now, I'm not saying he should go to Terence Crawford and step to him and start disrespecting him. However, if you're going to call him out online, you should call him out in person as well and say, let's make a fight happen. I'm down to make it happen. Now, Teofimo Lopez responded and said very little on Twitter. He basically just said, Lomachenko he beat, Taylor he beat, and now Crawford you're next. That's basically what he indirectly said. Basically, I'm misquoting it to some extent. But when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, he also in an interview went off on Terence Crawford a little bit. He started to say that Terence Crawford, all of his top wins, his opponents were unable to fully give it their best. And I don't believe that's fully true. I feel that that's honestly a coping mechanism from Teofimo Lopez. When you look at all of the wins Terence Crawford's had, he said Spence had the eye injury, but Errol Spence had a career-best performance against Dennis Ugas prior to fighting Terence Crawford. He had one of the best performances of his career, looked sensational, and looked much better than I thought he would. He ended up getting the stoppage victory. Yes, that had to do with Ugas and his eye orbital bone being injured, but that doesn't change the fact that he did get a stoppage victory against Dennis Ugas. That was a great outing and a great performance from him. When you look at the Kell Brook fight, he pointed out the Kell Brook fight. That is not considered one of Crawford's best wins, but Teofimo Lopez decided to use that one. He brought up, I believe, his age and his eyes, but no one really considers Kell Brook one of Crawford's best wins. He brought up a few other guys. I can't remember the top of my head the exact fighters that he brought up, but he brought up Jose Benavidez. He said Jose Benavidez was on one leg. Again, no one really considers that one of Terence Crawford's best wins. So it seems like Teofimo Lopez, he's being very nitpicky. I would have picked Errol Spence to beat Teofimo Lopez, obviously. Yes, I would pick Teofimo to beat that version of Benavidez, probably, due to the fact that Benavidez, 147, maybe. And I apologize for my dog barking in the background. my apologies. I'm very intrigued to see how this ends up playing out, how this situation ends up turning up between Terence Crawford and Teofimo Lopez. I don't expect the fight to happen. I really don't. I don't think that fight's ever going to happen. Honestly, I see Crawford having at most one more fight in his career, maybe 2. Maybe even calling it quits now. He's looking for a big payout, a big fight against Canelo Alvarez to end it all. And Teofimo Lopez, he really just doesn't offer much for Terence Crawford. He doesn't offer that much money. It's a decently big money fight for Crawford, but nothing insane, nothing tremendous. He offers no legacy. He offers no belts. I don't see what Teofimo Lopez offers. I think if Teofimo Lopez is really serious about taking on Terence Crawford, he should go undisputed at 140 quickly and then move up to 147 and fight Crawford. If you're so confident that you can take out Terence Crawford, you must have that same confidence to defeat Devin Haney and Subriel Matias, right? I'd assume so. So what you should do is you should quickly go undisputed at 140, take out those guys, and then move up to 147. And if you're undisputed at 140, you have a strong case of beating Terence Crawford. You can push the narrative that just like Terence Crawford, who is a 2-weight undisputed champion, you can make the claim, oh, I'm a 3-weight undisputed champion. Or I apologize. I don't even know how that makes sense. I'm going to attempt to become a 3-weight undisputed champion. I've been a 2-time undisputed champion just like you. He can make that claim. I don't believe he was undisputed at 135. I felt he got kind of finessed out of being 135 undisputed champion. He deserved that WBC. It's really messed up how the WBC completely ruined that for him. I don't hate on Haney for it. I don't hate on Loma for it. I completely think the WBC is the one in the wrong for that situation. He claims he's undisputed at 140, which doesn't even make sense due to the fact that he beat the former undisputed champion Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor got stripped of his belts, could not have counted as an undisputed championship, but I guess in a way he did beat an undisputed champion even though he didn't have any of those belts. But he never lost those belts in the ring. Even though a lot of people felt he lost to Jack Cattle, including myself, he never lost those belts in the ring. But he claims that he's a 2-weight undisputed champion. He can say it's 2-weight undisputed champion versus 2-weight undisputed champion. He claims that he did it before Crawford as well. He can push that narrative. He can push that agenda. If he actually goes undisputed at 140 and beats Devin Haney, beats whoever has the belts, it can definitely help push this fight for sure. It definitely can make this fight much more appealing to the fans and much more appealing to Terence Crawford. However, I really feel Teofimo Lopez does not have too much to offer for Terence Crawford, and at this point, I don't think it's a realistic fight or a fight that should get made. I made a tweet on my Twitter saying that maybe Teofimo Lopez has to move up to 147 and fight Jerron Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis is calling out Crawford as well. Crawford is coming at Ennis as well, the same way he's coming at Teofimo Lopez. If you fight Jerron Ennis and you beat Jerron Ennis, which I don't think Teofimo Lopez would be able to do, I would pick Ennis to win that fight for sure. He's too big, too strong. If he fought Ennis and beat him, he would genuinely have the fans excited for a fight with Terence Crawford, because a lot of people want to see Crawford fight Ennis. There are people who would pick Ennis to beat Crawford as well. I'm not one of them. But if he does move up and defeats Jerron Boots Ennis, I don't have an issue with the Crawford fight at all. I don't have that big of an issue with the Crawford fight now, due to the fact that Teofimo's already been a champion at 140, so it'd only be him moving up one more weight class. However, I feel the skill gap, the skill differential, is going to be too big, and Terence Crawford would defeat him. I'm very interested in how this fight plays out, if it does happen. I know Crawford's going to win, but I do think it would be fun. I'm very interested to see if this fight has any possibility of happening. I don't think it has much of a shot of happening, but I personally cannot hate on Teofimo Lopez for calling out Terence Crawford. What would you rather have him do? Sit on the shelf and call out no one? Would you rather have him call out Rolando Romero like Ryan Garcia is? No, I mean, I'd rather have him call out the best guy he can call out. Crawford's the best guy from 140 to 154 easily, in my opinion at least. Shout out to Teofimo Lopez for at least attempting to make something happen there. Now, I'm not super confident that Teofimo Lopez is fully serious in making Terence Crawford fight. I don't know. There might be a possibility that he's just using Crawford's name for attention, might just be using it for clout, and he doesn't really have much of a serious intention of fighting Terence Crawford. That is a possibility, and I wouldn't be shocked by it. However, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that these intentions are genuine, and he actually wants to fight Terence Crawford, and I do respect that. Now, as I said, he doesn't stand much of a shot in my opinion. Crawford is, in my opinion, the most skilled fighter in the sport. He's also bigger. Teofimo would not have the power to hurt Crawford. He's not big enough. He would get stopped for sure, probably even like the first 6 or 7 rounds, but I do find it very interesting that these two are going back and forth, and I'm interested to see how it plays out. Thanks for watching, guys. Tell me down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this possible fight, how it plays out. Do you think it has any shot of happening? Are you supportive of Teofimo Lopez winning this Crawford fight? Do you respect that he's calling Crawford out? Do you think it's all fake? Let me know all of that down below. Have a good one, guys. God bless. I'll see you guys later. Peace.